What's up, everybody? It's Glenn back with Big Jack, back with another NFL Best Bets of the Weekend video. We are looking at Week 14, and we are coming off the undefeated week. Jack and I both go 3-0 individually. We were both on the Lions to move our same picks on the year to 3-2, picks that were on the same side, which that's a great sign. And then us to go undefeated when our records have been, you've been mediocre, I've been pretty piss poor. Last week was a big help in kind of righting the ship, especially for me. I needed that in a big way. Jack moves to 20-17-2 on the season. I moved to 16-22-1. So I'm still a pretty big loser, but last week we were all winners, especially if you rode that parlay. It was a plus 2701 parlay. Hits. It was 5 sides because obviously we were both on Detroit. So 5 sides, they all hit. And then the other thing about the Detroit game, it was a fucking no sweat. So I mean, we're when we're seeing the board the same. At least last week it was great. With that being said, Jack, it's great to have you back. Were you buzzing after the undefeated of the week last week or what?
Feeling great, man. What the people at home don't know is I actually had to beg and plead to get Mike back on the show this week because after he hit the parlay, he was talking about retirement, maybe just looking at some private islands, just floating off into the sunset. But feels good to have an undefeated week. I think it's the first time I've gone 3-0 since I think like the second week. So I have been on a nice 2-1 run the past like a little over a month now.
Yep, 7-2 in your last 3 weeks. I know that for sure. So
so I've been moving in a very good direction, and it was beautiful to get us both on the same page this past week. Especially that Lions game was just a pure joy. I mean, like you said, complete no sweat. It was never even in doubt from the second they got that opening turnover and touchdown right away. It was just off to the races and good vibes for the rest of the day. I was a little nervous about the 49ers with Jimmy G going down, but that defense stepped up that much more, and Brocktober in December, baby.
Big cock Brock, as they're saying down there. This is what I'm hearing. But anyways, let's see if we can't keep the winning ways going this week. Keep you improving that record to finish the regular season strong heading into the playoffs. I'm just going to try to claw my way back to as close to 500 as I can get. With that being said, my first pick of the weekend, I was loving the board. I told you a little bit in the pre-show, Jack. The hardest thing I had this week is just narrowing it down to 3 games. The hardest thing I felt like I was having was picking the 3 games I really want to ride on. The first one is the Patriots. I like the Patriots at Arizona, 2-point favorites. I think Arizona is one of those teams that down the stretch here could get ugly. Could be one of those teams that turns into feeling sorry for themselves, maybe lack of discipline, stuff like that, where New England, they're 6-6. They're still fighting for a playoff berth. Belichick will have them playing fundamental football against what could potentially be a sloppy team in Arizona. I like New England to go in there, cover that 2-point spread easily. Patriots at Arizona -2. That's my first pick of the week.
I'm all in on that play. Might be revisiting it, but TBD.
Okay.
My thoughts on Belichick against those quarterbacks that haven't seen him too much. Not even my thoughts, really, just the facts about his outstanding record. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Cardinals have played the Patriots once since Kyler Murray's been in the league. So he's seen them before, but I still like Belichick in that defense, especially like you said, still fighting for a playoff position. And, that defense knowing they got to be the ones to step up with the way the offense has been struggling all year. And the other quick note I'll add is that the Cardinals are like bizarrely awful at home.
Mm-hmm.
They don't win home games. So I like the Patriots as a short favorite. I think they can go in there and get it done by a field goal. Certainly not out of the question. My first pick, I'm actually going to go to something I did last week. I might need you to confirm a line for me just so we're on the same page because I know we're on looking at different shops.
We're looking at different platforms, yeah.
but I'm going to take the Broncos at home. I'm showing them
Okay.
at 10.
Uh, hang on one second for me to start.
No, you're good. I just want to make sure we got the same one, especially since you're the
Mm-hmm.
parlay poppy over there.
I am the parlay poppy. Don't you forget it. I see Broncos +9.
9. Okay, that's fine. We'll call it 9. I'm still going to take it. The Broncos +9 at home. Going against the Chiefs again. Last week was a lot tighter of a number, so it was a little more ballsy, if you will. This week, I just think the Broncos are, like you were just kind of talking about the Cardinals. I think a lot of people sort of think that they're left for dead. There's a brutal narrative around Russell Wilson right now, and rightfully so. I mean, him and that whole offense has been horrible, but their defense has been
Oh yeah.
excellent. And they're at home at Mile High. I also know that Mahomes has never lost to the Broncos in the division, but I'm not asking for a loss. I just want it to be a touchdown game, and I think the Broncos can do that. I'm going to take that big number at home and hope the Broncos can go out there with some pride and play well at Mile High.
It's a. I was looking at this game too. The Broncos defense matches up very well against Kansas City offense. They stop the pass very well, and that's obviously probably the strongest suit of the Kansas City offense. So I like where your head's at there. Obviously, going to Mile High historically has been a tough place to go. I like it. I like the pick. All right, my second pick of the week. I'm going to go to the New York Giants, but I'm actually going to be on the Eagles. I'm going Eagles -7 at the Giants. I think the Giants, while they started out pretty strong this year, and I don't think they're a bad football team, I think they've been a little bit exposed as to their record was maybe a little inflated. I think they're a fringe playoff team, which is still something to be said, especially with the roster that they got. Granted, their defense is okay, but I wouldn't say they have the strongest roster. I think Dable has them well coached, but I think the Eagles are a legit contender for a Super Bowl. I think they go to New York Giants. I think they handle them relatively simply. Eagles at Giants -7. That's my pick. That's pick number 2 for the week.
I like what you said about the Giants kind of not really being what their record says they are. I know I've made the comment before about the Vikings, how everyone's kind of calling them fraudulent, but at the end of the day, they're whatever they are now, 9-2. I do think the Giants are starting to come back down to earth quite a bit, and I just don't think they're very good. I don't know what odds on something like this are, but if you could pick a team that's comfortably in right now that I think will be on the outside by the time the playoffs roll around, I think the Giants fall out of that playoff picture. I would not be surprised to see one of those weaker NFC teams kind of make a late push, maybe even the Lions, as much as I hate to say it. I don't know, but I think the Giants are a bad team, and I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs.
Okay.
So I'm fine going against them. My next pick, I'm going to go to your boys, the Tennessee Titans. They're at home against Jacksonville. This might be one of those, sucker numbers. I'm seeing 4. What do you have it at?
I believe I saw 4 as well. You can keep talking. I'll pull it up.
Okay. Well, whatever you have it at, I'm going to take it as long as it's not out to 5.
It's 4. It's 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, as long as it was under that key of 5.5, I probably would have taken it. But I'm good with the Titans at 4 even. At home, divisional game. I know they're always tough with, the familiarity between opponents, but I think the Titans are coming off of a frustrating loss where they got, blown out against Philly, sort of embarrassed a little bit to the point where A.J. Brown was kind of just doing them dirty, after they traded him away. And that happens all the time. Whenever guys get a shot at their former team, it's almost like, the coaches make a point to try to, put some shine on that guy, give him some opportunities. And A.J. Brown just went out there and did his thing, so much so that the Titans turned around and fired their GM. So that's a little bit of an odd situation. Sometimes that sort of drama, I guess, if you will, or, adversity within the team can kind of distract. But I think Vrabel is such an excellent coach that he's going to have them firing on all cylinders, be ready to play for him and for each other, and they go out there and put a drumming down on a Jacksonville team that just got embarrassed in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know what the word is for it, but both these teams got killed last week. Jacksonville got killed. Tennessee got killed. It's one of those games where it's, get yourself off the mat, dust yourself off and get back at it this week. And I would say that if you were to bet on one of those two teams to respond in a better manner, you're based off track record, you're for sure going with the Titans. I like the pick. If I were picking a side, I'd go this side as well. I really like the way our parlay is shaping up. And with that being said, I'm going to get into my last pick of the week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers might score 0 this week. I'm going to go San Francisco minus 3.5 against Tom Brady and the Bucs. We'll see what we got. Brock Purdy, big cock Brock, but last week, obviously he stepped in and did a nice job filling in for Jimmy G. And let's face it, that Niners team, they don't need much more than a game manager to take them to some pretty important games in all reality. So I like San Francisco minus 3.5 against Tampa. It is in San Francisco. The only thing that worries me at all, and there's no worry, is Tom Brady in the Bay Area. Does he really get up for this week? But that being said, when I'm thinking about it logically, I just think San Francisco is one of the top teams in the league. I think Tampa Bay, I don't want to see them come playoff time just because Tom Brady's going to have the ball in his hands. But their division is so bad that they know that all they have to do is finish like 8 and 9 and they'll be in the playoffs. So I'm not really worried about them being up for every game week in, week out. I like San Francisco minus 3.5. Could be an ugly game. Could be a game where Tom Brady is really thinking to himself, why am I not forcing a trade to San Francisco? Why am I still playing football? San Francisco minus 3.5 versus Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
It's interesting. Tampa Bay is, they're an odd team this year. I feel like, a lot of people are probably thinking, okay, they just had that pretty wild comeback down the stretch. That's the thing that's going to kind of propel them to get the ball rolling. But they did something very similar this year against the Rams, where they scored with almost no time on the clock to win that game. And, they went to London or Germany, the next week, and they beat the Seahawks in those weird overseas games. That's always just kind of goofy for teams. But then they come back and they lose to the Browns off a bye. And even in those games, their offense is just, like you said, it never gets rolling. I find it
They
hard.
have no run game, which
none.
Historically, Tom Brady needs one. Like that's kind of the quarterback is. He needs a little bit of a run game.
No run game, and not to turn this into some Bears discussion, but dude, thank God Byron Leftwich was not hired by the Chicago Bears. He is such a bad play caller. They have no run game, and I think it's partially because of the play calling. He calls a run on first down like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
They just run it up the middle on first down every time. There's nothing deceptive about the way they call plays.
I wonder how much of it is just Todd Bowles, and his influence over these coaches too, because they don't go for it in key moments where Arians would have been like, yeah, I got Tom Brady and we're fucking going for it. Like there's no swagger about this team. There's no sense of urgency about this team. It's a team that's going to sleepwalk to the playoffs, and maybe they'll catch lightning in a bottle. But you got to be playing your best football coming to the playoffs, and I just don't see a world where that happens. In that little survivor pool or whatever you want to call it that you've been running the last couple of years, I've picked Tom Brady and the Bucs as one of my top few teams both years. There's no way you could do that this year, even though they still got Tom Brady. They just, unless they really show something in the next month and a half, I mean, they're a team that is absolutely sleepwalking because they got no urgency from their coaching staff. They got nobody pushing them in division. There's no reality of trying to get a 1 seed. So they're just existing until the playoffs. And I just don't think that's a good recipe for them. But this week, San Francisco score prediction 37-3. San Francisco wins.
Yeah, that's a fair point you make about maybe it is just Todd Bowles is so conservative, and that's when they game plan. Maybe it's just kind of his MO that is making Leftwich go this way. But I gotta believe he's just such a defensive
Yeah.
guy that Leftwich should have a little more free reign over the offense. And I think it's maybe more the opposite of just that Bruce Arians, even though he might be a pain in the ass to deal with, probably is a pretty damn good football coach. But anyway, besides the point, like you said, I think they get rolled this week, and I like that pick quite a bit. I just tough for me to go, against Tom Brady.
For sure, ever.
That's the guy.
I'm with you. I'd never go against him ever.
Yeah, I think I heard he was like Brock Purdy was like 5 or 6 months old when Tom Brady, made his debut in the NFL or something. So tough for me to go against it, but I do think it's a wise play. And yeah, they're gonna limp in like to the playoffs because that division's so horrible, and Lord knows they could end up making a run. The NFC's wide open anyway, and as bad as they've been, I'm not gonna count out Brady until he's not back there taking snaps. My last pick, I really do like the Patriots a lot. I kind of been doing this every week where I kind of teeter back and forth between my third pick, and the Patriots are really on my radar. I do like them, but I'm going to give us a full 6-pack this week. I'm not going to be on the same one as you, and I'm going to turn to the Sunday night game, actually.
Great uniform
I don't
game.
love to do the primetime games, but I'm going to keep going against the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers getting 3.5. Does that sound right to you?
I'll take a look.
Yeah, whatever the number is, I like the Chargers getting the points. I think they win the game. I made the point about the reason I liked the 49ers against the Dolphins last week, 3 even.
Yep.
Okay, so that's fine. We'll lock it there, +3. I made the point last week about the Dolphins, how, they have a good record, and Tua's been doing a lot of good things, but they've been doing it against, they've been bullying like really bad defenses. And I think the Chargers are a more hungry, more desperate team at 500 at home fighting for the playoffs. Obviously, the Rams and the Chargers both in LA, they don't really have a home field advantage. They just don't. It kind of sucks for the Chargers especially. But I think Herbert, goes out there on Sunday night in prime time. He's a baller, man. Dude's good.
He's real good.
I always talk about how much I love Joe Burrow, but Herbert's, beyond Mahomes and Burrow. Herbert's probably pretty close. I think I would still take Allen over him if I really looked at everything, but Herbert's pretty close to that, in my opinion. And I think he can go out there and sling it for him on Sunday night, hopefully keep him in it. We all just saw what the 49ers defense did to Miami. Obviously, they have some more familiarity with Mike McDaniels being, kind of a Kyle Shanahan protege. He was probably able to help that defense quite a bit to scheme against Mike McDaniel. But I still think this Chargers defense is top-notch, even going through the injuries that they've been dealing with. And I like them to go out and get a win. So I'll take those 3 points.
Right on. I like all your picks this week. Just a quick recap for everybody. My 3 picks for the week: Patriots -2 at Arizona, Eagles -7 at the Giants, and then San Francisco at home versus Tampa. They're 3.5-point favorites. Jack is on 3 home teams. He's on Denver at home versus Kansas City +9, Tennessee -4 at home versus Jacksonville, and the Chargers +3 at home versus Miami. It would be great. It'd be great to follow up an undefeated week with another undefeated week. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's possible.
Hey, if you do some historical research based on the last week, I think there's a good chance.
There's a good chance. Here's my promise to you this week, Jack. If we hit the parlay, you're getting a couple $100 of it minimum. So no pressure, but lots of pressure. All right. Everybody at home, like and subscribe if you're new here. We appreciate any comments as well. And then obviously there's no Bears look ahead this week, But I think we'll do a quick little recap of last week, maybe a quick update on the state of affairs. Be a much shorter Bears video this week. But thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more picks. Until next time, love y'all. Peace.